Hello, my name is Karina Tolan and I am owner and manager of Monica Tolan's The Skin Experts. We have 3 clinics, 2 in Dublin, Ireland and 1 in London. I've decided to make this video for you today because I wanted to explain exactly what happens to skin when daylight hours reduce and when you are using topical vitamin A. Our vitamin A is one of the main ingredients in your skincare formulations. I've been working with Environ Skincare, which in my opinion have completely mastered vitamin A in topical formulations for the last 15 plus years. However, this time of the year, we have a tendency to encounter what one would call a negative response. Now, I write emails every 2 weeks, educational emails from my clients so they can get the very most out of their formulations. I'm just putting together an email all about negative responses. And then I was like, it's such a complex subject that I decided that I should really come on here to YouTube, explain to you guys exactly the mechanisms of the skin, how this happens, how to prevent it, and if you see early signs of a negative response to vitamin A, what you can do to stop it or to manage it until daylight hours increase again. So first of all, what exactly is happening with vitamin A? So if you are working, I am kind of specifically speaking to those working with Environ skincare, because with Environ Skincare, I know that you're getting the maximum permissible levels or dosage of vitamin A in your formulations. I know you're getting palmitate, which is a fat soluble type of vitamin A that your skin is very familiar with. And I know that because of how vitamin A works, that you are more likely to encounter a negative response in the winter months. So where will we begin? Well, let me just explain exactly how vitamin A works, why it's essential for healthy skin, that we use it in our skincare routine and that we use it daily, and then of course what happens with the change of season. So vitamin A is, in my opinion, the most essential ingredient for healthy skin. It is as vital for healthy skin as oxygen is for life. And the reason for that is vitamin A is essential for cell proliferation, which is the cell's ability to turn into more cells. And that's exactly how we stay alive and how our skin, being an organ that migrates upwards, how it works. What happens around the membrane of the cell is we have vitamin A receptors, and when we're young and when we're healthy, or when we use vitamin A, our receptors are quite vibrant and they're out and they're willing to receive any amount of vitamin A that comes their way. However, if you're not using topical vitamin A and if you've exposed your skin to daylight a lot, which if you're living and you're not living in a cell is about to happen, what happens is that the vitamin A storage or reservoir within the cell starts to deplete and it becomes deficient, and then the receptors start to close in on top of each other. And then when you come along with topical vitamin A, there's no ability to receive that vitamin A, so the vitamin A will gather outside the membrane, causing irritation. And that's exactly how a negative response to vitamin A occurs. And this is why Dr. Des Fernandez and his team at Environ Skincare have a ladder system with vitamin A. And this, to me, is how it is the perfect way to introduce your skin to vitamin A, because we can start you at very low levels and we can repeat those levels if we need to build a tolerance. And then when we are well, when we are assured that your skin is receiving this dosage of vitamin A well, we can then increase the dose. And then what's happening each time is that as you are increasing the dose, more and more receptors are opening up, your skin is receiving more, and then there's an abundance of vitamin A in your skin cells, so your skin cells are thriving. And once your cells are thriving, then intercellular communication is thriving, collagen synthesis is thriving, hyaluronic acid synthesis is thriving, everything is as it should be. And that is exactly what's happening in a child's skin. Cell turnover is really, really quick, and all the communication between the cells and the subdermal level is occurring really, really well. And as a result, the skin is plump, it's hydrated, it's firm, and there's no UV damage presenting, etc., etc. It's only as we continue to age, and by age, I mean it's only as we continue to expose our cells to daylight, having the vitamin A within the cell depleted, that all the other things we associate with aging and accelerated aging will occur. So we're going to come along, and as the daylight depletes the vitamin A in our cells that day, we're going to come along at night and we're going to refill the vitamin A stores in our skin cells, kind of like watering a plant. However, now we find ourselves, if you're in Ireland and Northern European, we find ourselves in the month of October. So daylight hours are beginning to reduce. So two things are happening. Daylight hours are beginning to reduce and temperatures are reducing. And what happens when temperatures begin to reduce is we start to wear things up around our neck area, like scarves and wools and coats, etc. That does two things. It reduces the amount of daylight that area is exposed to, so the vitamin A is not being depleted at the same rate that it was in the summer. And then also I find that maybe the wool and jumpers, etc., can slightly irritate the skin, and that can maybe accelerate transdermal delivery of the vitamin A, so maybe it's getting more vitamin A. These are the things that, like I said, 15 plus years of working with these formulations, that I can see happening, and this is how I think that the negative response is occurring. I should note on that note that the first areas that are going to present negatively to vitamin A is the eye area and the neck. And the reason for the eye area is because it's much thinner. So kind of like if you're drying a jumper on a radiator, the thinner areas of the jumper are going to dry out quicker. Exactly the same with the eyes. The vitamin A will present irritation or negative response will present sooner on the thinner areas. The skin on your neck is different as well. There's less hair follicles. It's kind of more similar to the mucous membrane on the lips than the skin on your face, and that too tends to respond negatively, coupled with the fact that this area will now start to be covered in the winter due to temperatures reducing, so it's not exposed to as much daylight, so the vitamin A in the cells here are not being depleted as quick. So all summer long, or since the previous April, you have been using a certain dosage of vitamin A, and that's all worked out lovely because the daylight during that day has depleted it. You've come along and you've topped up your reservoirs depletion, topped up your reservoirs, and it's a beautiful, harmonious ballad that's going on until daylight hours reduce, and then the vitamin A within the cells are not being depleted at the same rate. So suddenly we have a build-up of vitamin A around the skin cell, and this is when irritation can occur. So what can you do to prevent it? Well, one of the main things, and one of the best preventatives, is to orally supplement with omega-3 and with vitamin A. I find the vitamin A, of course, your good fats helps to build up that mucous membrane around the cells, keeps the skin cells really hydrated. The more plump and hydrated the skin is, or should I say, the more dry and dehydrated the skin is, the quicker the vitamin A penetrates through and you'll absorb more of it. So I find when the skin is plump and hydrated, it nearly acts like a filter system. And then also, if you have been orally supplementing, taking in high dose vitamin A, well then the skin cells, as they're being made in the dermis, have been exposed to a higher dose, so the receptors are well able to receive topically a much higher dose as well. Should you feel like you're encountering a negative response, what you'll be aware of is maybe an itching, an irritation, a redness. The best thing you can do is stop your vitamin A in that area. Just use like occlusive balms or hydration creams full of emulsifiers that is going to just hydrate the area. Omit or stop vitamin A, or rapidly lower the dose of vitamin A that you're using in that area until all signs of irritation go, and then very, very slowly reintroduce. You may need to make peace with the fact that you won't be able to use vitamin A in your neck during the winter months, or maybe you'll only have one. If you imagine you have 14 applications of vitamin A in any given week, morning and night, you may at this point only have 2 to 5 applications on the neck area, and that's okay, because if that's all your skin can tolerate, there's a good chance that's all your skin requires, because daylight hours have reduced. So that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to stop vitamin A, you're going to embalm the skin, hydrate the skin, nourish the skin until all signs of vitamin A response have passed. And then you're going to slowly reintroduce. If you're using ABST line, Youth Essential line, and the retinol line, well then maybe just cut out one of these in the neck area. Retinol, being a more irritating form, will be the one I suggest that you would omit. So that's really it. And that's exactly, like I said, how you would deal with a negative response to vitamin A. That's exactly what's happening. Again, if it's around the eye area, this is why it's so important with the neck and the eye, that when you are progressing up through the ABST line or the Youth Essential line, that you're exposing the skin in both those areas to all levels. That is key. There's no point in omitting the neck from ABST1, ABST2, ABST3, and then when you're at the higher levels and you're seeing the results and you're loving the results, at that point exposing the skin in these areas to the higher levels, because they won't have acclimatized and you are entering into dangerous territory if you do that. So make sure when you start on your journey with vitamin A that you use it up right the whole way. Again, this is me talking about retinol palmitate, acetate, propionate, and possibly retinol too. Should you choose to work with tretinoin or retinoic acid or prescription vitamin A, you are working with the most irritating form of vitamin A, and yours is a completely different conversation to have because you are permanently on the edge of a negative response if that's the form that you choose to work with. You must also remember that formulations like Environ Skincare, yes, vitamin A is key, and I go so far as to say vitamin A is the epicenter of these formulations, but it's not the only ingredient. We work with an abundance of antioxidants as well as peptides and other essential nutrients for healthy skin. So that's really important to note as well, because it's never just one thing. The sum is always greater than the individual parts. It is the synergy of all these ingredients coming together that brings you and gives you the desired result, which is of course beautiful, healthy skin for a lifetime. So if you enjoyed today's videos, and if you really want to work with the very best skincare formulations in the world, and if you want as much knowledge and education on how to get the most out of your investment, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the like button and share it amongst your friends. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Let me know what videos you guys want more of. It is my plan for the end of 2022 and ongoing into the future to really rally up my YouTube page. It's something I really enjoy doing, and the most fun part for me is interacting with you guys. So please reach out to me, leave me messages, let me know what you want, and then I am here to deliver to you. Take care until next time.